In this video, we're going to talk about finding the slope and y-intercept from a graph. I've been telling you we were going to find the slope, and now we're getting ready to do that. This whole unit is about finding the slope of a line. The lesson objective for this lesson is that by the end of the lesson, I can find the slope and y-intercept of a line from a graph. All right, there's a lot of vocabulary in here, so we need to go through it just quickly. Some of the words are review words, some are new. All right, so let's look at y-axis. The y-axis is the vertical axis, and it goes up and down. Okay, so vertical axis, and it goes up and down. When you move up on the vertical axis, you're going positive. When you move down on the vertical axis, you're going negative. The x-axis is the horizontal axis. That's left and right. When you're going right, you're moving positive. When you're going left, you're moving negative. Okay, we've already talked about origin, but just a reminder, the origin is the 0, 0. And while we're doing slope, we're going to be looking at 4 quadrant coordinate planes instead of just the one that we've been using for graphing. All right, so here's some new vocabulary. The y-intercept is the point where a line crosses the y-axis. And the coordinates for this will mean that x is 0 and y is a certain number, wherever it crosses the y-axis. Just the opposite, the x-intercept is the point where a line crosses the x-axis, sorry. And its coordinates will always have a number in the x value and a 0 in the y value because it's going to be right on that line. Okay? The slope of a line is really its steepness. Like, how steep is it? All right? The way that we show the slope is a ratio of the difference of y values over, sorry, can't spell today, the difference of x values. We'll get more into that as we go. Slope is going to be really, really important. This whole unit is about the slope of a line and how to find it. Okay, so there are 4 different kinds of slopes. This first one is a negative slope. Okay, and what it means is it's a line that starts high in the left-hand side and goes down to the right. So it goes from the left-hand side down to the right-hand side. So left, down to right. You're going to need to know this because you need to be able to make sure that the slope that you use is reasonable. Okay? And let's go to the one all the way at the end, and that is a positive slope. Okay? And it goes from low in the left-hand side to up in the right-hand side. So it goes left, up to right. That's the way it's pointing. The other 2 slopes are this. This slope right here, if you can see it, is a 0 slope. It's a horizontal line and I like to remember it as the floor. The floor is horizontal and it's a zero slope. So it isn't steep at all, it's just flat. So a zero slope is a horizontal line. Let me make that smaller so it doesn't go over to the other side. And then the very last one, if you can see it here, is an undefined slope. When you have a vertical line straight up and down, you don't know what the slope is because there's no actual steepness to it. So we call that an undefined slope, okay? Vertical line. Make sure you know which is which so that you can check and make sure that your answer is reasonable. So when I'm looking at a graph, how do I find the slope of a line? Well, there's some steps. The first thing we do is create a triangle between two specific points. Then we count the rise and the run of the triangle, and then we simplify it if necessary. So let me show you about the slope of this line. We're going to call the slope M. Every time we talk about the slope, we're going to call it M, okay? So we're going to do the first step. Create a triangle between 2 points. So I have a point here on my line and a point here, and I'm going to create a right triangle. I'm going to draw a right triangle to connect those, okay? And the slope of a line is the rise over the run. Rise means up and down, run means left and right. So when I go over, I'm going to count my boxes to determine my rise and run. So let's look at this one. I start at this point and I move to the right, so I go 1, 2. Since I'm moving to the right, that is 2 boxes positive. Then I start at my corner, my 90-degree angle, and I go up, which is 1, and it's positive. To the right is positive, up is positive. So now I'm going to set this up and I'm going to call it my rise, which is 1, over my run, which is 2. So my slope of this line is 1/2. The other question I need to answer, so I did these 2 steps, sorry. I don't need to simplify it because 1/2 is in simplest form. The other thing I need to answer is where does it cross the y-intercept, okay? So the y-intercept of this line, where does it cross y, is right here at 0. That's my y-intercept, where it crosses the line, the y-axis. Okay, let's try one more, and then I'm going to let you do a few on your own. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is find 2 points and create a triangle. Well, our points are already given to me, so now I'm going to draw in a right triangle. Remember, a right triangle has a 90-degree angle. So now I'm going to determine my rise and my run. I'm going to do that in a different color. Okay, so I'm going to start at my bottom point, and I'm going to go to the left. And when I go left, that's negative. 1, 2. So that is -2. Now I'm going to determine my rise. I'm going to start at my 90-degree angle, and I'm going to go up. 1, 2. That's a +2 because I go up. So my slope is rise over run. And so it's +2 over -2. My next question is, do I need to simplify? Yes. 2 divided by -2 is -1. So the slope of this line is -1. That's how steep it is. Also, I want you to look at it. It goes from the left down to the right, so I also know that it should be negative when I look back at my different kinds of slope. Okay, so the last thing we're going to find is our y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? Here's my y-axis, and this is the point where it crosses. So now I count down to that. 1, 2, 3. So my y-intercept is -3. Okay, so I think you can do these. I want you to follow the steps, and I want you to find the slope and the y-intercept of these 2 different lines. Come back and see how you did. All right, so let's see how you did. Let's find the slope. Remember, m equals slope. All right, so the first thing we need to do is draw a triangle. My 2 points are already there. I'm going to draw a right triangle to connect those 2 points. Okay, when I look at it, it goes from the top left down to the right, so I know that my slope is going to be negative. Now I need to count my rise and my run. I'm going to count from my bottom point, and I count over 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, so that's -4. And then I'm going to count up from my corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's my rise. So now I need to write my, my slope. And it's rise over run, so 5 over -4. So it's a negative slope, and 5/4 is my slope. Now, I don't really want to use a mixed number, so I'm going to leave this like it is, and we're going to call that simplest form for slope. Now I need to find my y-intercept. I see that my y is here, my y-axis, and it crosses there, so I'm going to count backwards. And that's -1. So my y-intercept is -1. All right, let's try this one. So my points are already there, and I'm going to connect it with a right triangle. I know that I start from the bottom left and move up, so my slope is going to be positive. So from the bottom point over is 1. Then from my 90-degree angle, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is rise over run. Rise means up and down, run means right and left. So my slope is 4. My y-intercept, right now it doesn't show a y-intercept, so I would really have to extend my graph to find it. So we won't worry about the y-intercept this time, because it doesn't, my line that's shown doesn't cross the y-axis yet. It will eventually, but not yet. Hopefully this made sense to you. We're going to do a lot more in class and a lot of examples. So write down any questions you might have, and then we will talk about those in class.